What's going on, Ambitious Vets? Welcome to episode number 12, The Ambitious Vet, with U.S. Army Ranger and It Factor Performance Coach, Jeff Banman. Welcome to The Ambitious Vet. My name is Chris Hoffman, former Marine combat veteran turned passion-driven entrepreneur. Now, we're here to dig into the trenches with today's top-performing military veterans that were once warrior-made but are now passion-driven. We are here with the intentions to really just unlock those blind spots and have you guys get those light bulb moments and having you guys create that more fulfilling, meaningful, and top performing civilian life. Are you an ambitious vet out there that's seeking more out of the uniform? Now, guys, one thing that you'll notice for those of you guys that have been following the show so far and are close with us at Veteran Empowerment Transition Facebook group is you know that the end goal of this whole ambitious vet movement is how do we become top performers out of the uniform? See, I know that there's some of you guys that are going to listen to this that are getting out or thinking about getting out with big visions but are afraid of big adversity. And trust me, there is big adversity waiting for you. Big obstacles and civilians that forgot about you when you get back into the civilian sector. So guys, what I'm promoting here is I want you guys to go over to the Veteran Empowerment Transition group inside of Facebook. I want you to come and network with over 500 of the most top-performing veterans that are out there out of the uniform seeking to thrive. Guys, this is an organic group. We have not boosted any Facebook ads or anything like that to this group, and I'm very protective of who I choose to come into the tribe. We have a strict screening process where we ask 3 questions, and if those questions aren't answered, we don't allow anybody to come in, because one thing I learned a long time ago is that there is a different linguistic pattern, like a language, with people that are in the spectator stands versus the people on the court playing the game on the court every single day in their life, business life, family life, relationship life, whatever. We want the people that from step 1 engage, ask questions, because you know in combat, when you engage, you execute, you get the results that you want. We're looking for executors. We're looking for ambitious vets that are really ready to be known for something out of the uniform. So guys, if that sounds like you, come join over 500 ambitious vets inside Veteran Empowerment Transition Group. We do 2 Facebook Lives a week inside of there, just dropping free amazing content in there. And then we also do a actual live ambitious vet show, which we repurpose and obviously put on iTunes and Stitcher, which is this. And guys, just get there. Be the people that go there and say yes to increase. Say yes to taking your skill sets that you've gotten on in the uniform and going and implementing those out. And that's exactly where that can be for you to be equipped, networked, and gaining the insights and strategies to make that happen. So last thing, guys, before we go ahead and introduce the guests, as you guys, a lot of you guys know, we just launched our brand new ebook, 10 Steps to Predict Success Out of the Uniform. That is pretty much 10 life lessons of 5 different careers and 2 failed businesses in a matter of the first 5 years I was out of the Marine Corps. And that's the 10 life lessons I've learned through interviewing hundreds of top-performing veterans, investing over tens upon thousands of dollars into my own personal and professional development. And also, it's just my gift to you guys. For me, my stand, my commitment for you guys to actually become a top performer out of the uniform. So guys, go over to ambitiousvet.com. Get your ebook. Right now, we're only offering it to our small audience that's close to us. We're offering it for only $6.99. That's it. We're actually going to boost that up once we get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Guys, you also get an option of audio, which is $14.95 right now. And then you can also do a 60-minute Zoom live call with me to where I dive right into the trenches with one area of life that you feel stuck in for you to get clarity and a 10,000-foot vision around to where you can create the results and the execution that you want around that area. And we're doing that at only $87 right now, which I normally charge around $150 an hour for my time because I've coached Fortune 500 CEOs, professional athletes, and just a lot through Landmark Worldwide, where I actually volunteer and coach leadership programs in. So guys, that's a huge steal, but it's my stand for having any ambitious vet with a big vision to actually have the clarity to execute on that and actually create real, no shit results that they want out of the uniform. So guys, ambitiousvet.com is where you can pick up that ebook. If you just want to get close to our tribe, go over to Veteran Empowerment Transition. Either way, we look forward to seeing you create a personal brand that monetizes out of the uniform. All right, so we got Jeff Banman on the show today. He's a U.S. Army Ranger veteran, former firefighter, and CEI counterterrorism guy. Now, he's dedicated his life to really studying what separates success from failure, what separates the guys that can endure the adversity in life and those who can't. Hence, his brand new brand, and Be Relentless. He is the It Factor guy who's created a trademark program called Ultimate Performance System, which pretty much he specializes in and just really connecting, unifying, enrolling, inspiring more people into massive action and doing what it takes to endure that hardship that we all deal with from going A to high levels of execution. So guys, he has a big event coming up September 8th through 9th in San Diego, California called Be Fucking Relentless. Yes, I said fucking, being fucking relentless. And he also has a new ebook that he's going to be launching late in 2018 called Fuck Your Goals, Be Relentless. Guys, I really like this conversation with Jeff. We dive right into the simple fundamentals, systems, and patterns to search for when you're actually in the trenches seeking high levels of success out of the uniform. So guys, let's go ahead, strap up, get a pen and paper, and let's engage and let's dive right in. You there, brother?
I am. How are you doing, Chris?
Oh, brother, I'm doing good, man. Welcome to the show, brother.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to do this together next time, like sitting at the bay here in San Diego.
Oh man, I know you look like you're in like the Zen moment. I need to
I'm just, you're at, man. Just sitting out staring at the water.
Oh man, that sounds calming. I just came from yoga, man. So I mean,
nice.
I'm flexible right now, but I'm not in a Zen state. Brother, I want you to go ahead and fill the gaps in that introduction, man. Let us get to know you as a human being outside of just being such a badass, brother.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've ever considered myself a badass, but I think life has been super interesting for me, man. I mean, it's just been kind of one thing after another. Never really planned on any of it. Took the opportunities as they came. Have learned so much from everything I've gotten to do and the people I've gotten to work with. I mean, I think that's probably the most important aspect. The leadership that I've had, the people that I've gotten to actually connect with, learn from, work with over the years, spectacular. I mean, you don't get that all the time. And, being able to really step forward and honor them and honor the people that taught me how to be a fireman, taught me how to be an operator, taught me how to operate in the world and do crazy and stupid stuff, and just honor kind of the core aspects of that in, how we take our life on and how we move from things like being in the military in the structured environment, this disciplined environment, out into kind of the unregulated territory of entrepreneurship and life. I think that's been the coolest thing for me, relevant to being in the agency, right? I mean, it was kind of on my own, operating out in the world, figuring it out. Hey, here's a problem, go solve it. And, been able to translate that into my life out in the world of business and normal life and raising my kids and being a dad and being a husband and, having great success at a lot of things and falling flat on my face at others. So, it's just a challenge every moment. And this, the stuff we work on now, this idea of really kind of unlocking, unpacking our it factor, like what is it? What makes somebody super powerful, super capable? It's awesome. I love the discovery of us as humans. So those are the gaps.
That's freaking awesome, brother.
Yeah.
We're going to dive more into that it factor and bridging that gap.
Yeah.
into becoming, who you're meant to become out of the uniform, brother. And I'm excited to kind of dig into your mindset around that. However, tell us a little bit about your transition story, because you were a former U.S. Army Ranger, correct?
Yeah, so I spent my time, I did my Army time, 3rd Ranger Battalion, then a reconnaissance unit. Was part of the first guys on the ground in Kosovo in '99, and wow. that was my transition point. So after spending about 6 months there, if I had reenlisted, I'd reenlisted while I was there, while I was deployed. My track and my trajectory really only left a couple options for me of where to go next. And it was a big, crucial decision for me at that time in my life, and I had to look to see if I had, 110% to give to the next push, right? To go deeper into the special operations world and, experience that, or transition out. And really, when I was honest with myself about where I was tired, kind of beat up, a little frustrated with the system. I mean, I think as vets, we've all experienced that,
Absolutely.
And I made the option to get out, and it was not an easy transition. You got to think, I went from, on the ground in Kosovo in '99 to on a C-17 with my team, no orders, no nothing, to, up to Ramside, over to Frankfurt, a couple days in Frankfurt because they had no idea who we were and how we were getting out, and, finagled my way home, which is a whole different story, a whole blast that, I'm sure you guys would appreciate. But, and then all of a sudden out in 2 weeks, right? I mean, out, gone, disconnected from everything that I had known. And it was not an easy move for me by any stretch of the imagination. And so I spent about 6 months back in the DC area doing some stuff, really was struggling, as most of us do when we get out. What do I do? I'm, disconnected, frustrated with kind of what the population had become in the time I was in the military.
Yeah.
And, I put $1,500 in my pocket and packed my Jeep up and drove across the country and came here to San Diego. Slept on my buddy's kid's top bunk for the first month while I found a place, and tried to, start figuring out life and work and stuff. And then, just figured out a way to be open and available to what could be coming, what was coming, and what was there. And so, that led then shortly into some transitions and took me back to DC, and then created an opportunity to go to work for the agency for about a decade. So, it was good. And then transitioning out of the agency, much like transitioning out of the military, was able to really step into business powerfully pretty quickly and build a really cool company and have a blast. So, it's never been easy, but I think the core of what I got, what I learned, and really getting in touch with who I was, and who I wanted to be, and what I was really committed to for my life and those around me, really were the core aspects that allowed me to just really find my own pattern of success out here. And, it hasn't been easy, right? Yeah. I mean, it's been an up and down run.
It never gets easy. Never gets easier. Never gets easier. Bigger levels, bigger devils, right? So
absolutely.
We do have some engagement. We got Markian, man. If I'm screwing up your name, man, I apologize. Markian Sitch says he loves it. You're already dropping some golden grenades in here, Jeff. We got Stephen Kuhn, Daniel Faust, Leandre Smith watching us live.
Awesome.
Guys, welcome to the show. If you guys have any questions, anything at all, we're going to see if we can get to those at the end. If you guys are getting golden grenades, go ahead and drop those in as well. We're going to make this fully interactive here for you guys as well, providing you guys as much value. Okay. So now digging back into something you said pretty awesome, man, as far as when you were getting out of the uniform, you kept yourself open. You kept yourself open to opportunity, whatever it may have been. You just kind of kept yourself open. So can you touch base on how did you start finding your identity? How did you start finding your purpose? And how did you start finding this passion for life out of being an Army Ranger, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that, I always say I'm an older guy, right? I'm in my mid 40s. So I'm an old school cat now, even though I don't feel like it. And
comparatively speaking.
Yeah. And I always say, I was teaching mindset and doing biofeedback before mindset and biofeedback were cool.
Right.
And, I kind of steer away from the word mindset these days in some ways, because I feel like it's been really corrupted, and kind of become like a throwaway term. But, fundamentally, to me, mindset is really a source of power, right? And identifying sources of power here, so that I can operate and do what I need to do. And like you said, figure out like who I am, what is my identity, and what am I after? I gave a talk back at USASOC. They invited me back, 400 people in the audience, and broadcast out of the entire enterprise a couple years ago. And, you and I started this conversation before we got on, talking about being authentic. Right. And I was giving a talk on authenticity.
Nice.
And, and I said, hey guys, listen, you want some authenticity? My time in Ranger Battalion sucked. Mm-hmm. Like, it was a grind. Like, I didn't assimilate to that environment, and every day was a grind. And I didn't have the mindset that I needed to really accelerate in that environment. And so I left myself in this kind of state of grind every day. Mm-hmm. And that's on me, right? I mean, that was my breakdown, what I failed to bring to the table. And I think those are things I learned very quickly when I got out of a uniform, and was able to look back and understand how I needed to re-engineer myself. And so when I talk about mindset and sources of power, like, to me, there's 3 ways that I always operate. I mean, every minute of every day. And that is open, right? Just open to what's there, open to the people I interact with, open to the opportunities that show up, open to where I am, whatever's going on for me, like really open. Then very curious. I mean, just super curious about people and life, and the water, and just curious, right? Just approaching life with a level of curiosity that keeps me interested. And then the last piece of that is being creative. I mean, like if we need to be so adaptive and so creative, especially out here as entrepreneurs, we need to be able to read the market and read what's going on and see trends and forecast and move with a level of precision. And that requires just this huge level of creativity that is the differentiator in a lot of ways for then how we progress, how we move forward. So I think for me, that left me in a place of really being able to see opportunities that maybe weren't there, or create opportunities that I would have passed by normally or not been available to. So, and that's me, man.
That's huge. No, that's huge, brother. Yeah. I mean, anybody that's watching this show, and we got some heavy hitters. Bennett Tanton just joined the show. He has his own podcast. Just started a brand new technology company that's like really disrupting an industry as well.
Nice.
Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show. And brother, being more open, being more creative, and actually just being more curious in the world versus getting caught up in the grind of being an Army Ranger. That allowed you to open up and be more creative, tap in your intuition, and be able to come from a calm state to actually create solutions to real problems out of the uniform. Because I think that was one of my biggest issues while serving the Marine Corps, is that I was so caught up in trying to discover what it took to be a man, right? Really being authentic, is I never had a father, so I got in the Marine Corps to learn how to become a man. What are the attributes of actually being a masculine man, that I lost track of who I really wanted to be. And it was really, how do I become a man? And it wasn't until I was deployed to Afghanistan that I started reading books like Think and Grow Rich, Influence. I had a sergeant that mentored me, Sergeant Bliss. If you ever see this man, you're the man. He kind of opened my mind, expanded it, and allowed me to start opening my mind, getting more curious to what's actually possible in my life, and allowed me to actually get more self-aware inside of my heart to actually discover, okay, I've discovered how to be a man. I think it's, I've developed some skill sets. Now, how do I go out and actually create real solutions to real problems in the world that can actually solve world wars, solve conflict in the world, and actually cause healing, right?
Well, man. And there's this place where when we kind of exist that way, when we come out of the military, we've been surrounded by people that operate at a different level in most cases, right? There's accountability, there is standards, there are expectations that are clearly identified and then met, right? So we live in that world, and then we come out here and it's not that way. It's completely opposite that way. And so we get frustrated by that. We get bound by that. And I think what I've learned is over time, how to really be available to how people are, who people are, and what they are for what they are and what they aren't. And build a new level of respect, because if I'm in business now, I don't get to look at them like, hey, you're a dirtbag, or hey, you're a turd, or hey, I can't put the expectations. I can't carry 3rd Ranger Battalion expectations into life, right? It's not going to work,
Right.
Because everybody's going to fail those expectations. Then I'm left frustrated and, pissed off most times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's awesome. So yeah, I was looking for the gaps, man, and filling those gaps out of the
yeah.
uniform. Sounds like that's what you really went after. So, brother, I want to ask you this, man. I mean, when you got out of the uniform, did you see resources being the major thing that made a difference for you, or being resourceful, and why?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely being resourceful. I mean, huge difference there. When I got out, when I transitioned out, we didn't have even a tenth of the resources that are available today. I mean, they just didn't exist. We didn't have the transition programs. There wasn't the push to veterans. There wasn't the recognition or identification. I mean, they just didn't exist back then. And so, I was left very much to kind of trudge through the mud and find my own way. I mean, it's kind of why I love, doing programs like when we do the walk, which is a road march, right? And carrying things like uncertainty, fear, trust, and freedom in our packs for however long we walk.
And that's part of that's your program, right?
It's some of the things we do. Yeah. I mean, and, some of the things we did with the Atlanta Braves last year, the young players, and giving them a whole new experience in life and that stuff. And so, you got to grind it out. And I don't like the word grind it out, because there is somebody out there that, harps on grind it out. Well, I mean, but you've got to understand how to create it for yourself, because nobody's going to do it for you. Even now with all the vet groups and everything else, I mean, it's just, to me, it's like a suck hole. Almost too many resources available. Yep. And limiting on how to be resourceful.
Amen.
Right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I am the guy that you have to understand who you are, what your end goal is, what your brand is, and then figuring out what resources are going to get you there. There's too many people just reacting off life and just getting into anything and everything, and not being intentional with their actions, which doesn't really create a tangible result.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is why, like, for me, I've finally, stepping into my own brand. This is a big transition for me, stepping out into who I am. And, what I have come to now, my brand is becoming Be Relentless. I mean, I've learned the transition of my life just in this last year around that, being relentless, man. It's not like this crazy weird thing. It is relentless is an every minute right now action. It is the thing that keeps you present in this moment. Right. Who cares there is no tomorrow. I mean, who knows? I may not be here tomorrow. It doesn't matter, so I'm relentless about my relationship with my wife, about my, being a father, being a businessman, going after things. Like, I'm every day stepping into, and I'm applying it to every aspect of my life. Just this relentlessness that keeps me here right now, not somewhere in the future, not some, way off, far distant point. I mean, like, right this minute. And it is, man, I got to tell you that the shift is crazy. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, brother. So speaking of relentless, obviously that's your core message, man. I was even seeing the new brand that you're creating. And it's absolutely amazing about being more relentless. So how would you describe that, and how that's attributed to you finding traction out of the uniform, actually creating rhythm? Because you've accomplished a lot in just your 40 and some change years in your life. So how did you use that philosophy to create traction out of the uniform?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think what it does is it gets me out of my head. Right? I mean, it gets me out of this machine up here, this crap that runs, right? This time machine that exists up here that really only exists back here in the past or up there in the future. And it puts me right now. And when I'm here right now, I'm available to see what's going on. I'm able to listen to my market. I'm able to connect with my people. and actually hear what's there for them. And then, I'm a big believer, for a decade of my life with the agency, I was a problem solver. I mean, it would be, hey, Jeff, we have a problem. And I'd have to go and figure out what the problem was and then create the solution. And I think in business, a lot of us try to forecast the solution to the problem. And when I'm working with my corporate clients, my feeling is I don't come with the solution. I come to find it. Yeah. And that's a big difference, right?
Yep.
Because 9 times out of 10, the customer isn't even aware of their problem. They have an idea, but really we're going to get underneath that. We're going to unpack that. We're going to find what's really there. And, we get this idea that it has to be this way. We create our expectations. And then when the market doesn't respond to us the way we thought they would, because of the problem we identified, out there without really being engaged, then we get bummed and irritated and all this other stuff. So, really, really understanding who you are and what you have to offer. And then this is the big thing for me, right? What did I have to offer? How do I connect that? I mean, I took Human Elements, from 60 grand a year to 680 in about 3 months.
Wow.
And then close to $1 million a year. But I only got there when I got connected with what my customer really needed, right? What was really there for them, and how did the technology and the processes we had built answer those solutions in a profound way. And so, I mean, we got to do things that, nobody else. I mean, you got 60 Navy SEALs wired up during a full-blown 30-day training exercise, constant biofeedback and coaching that never existed before. And so, the opportunity to do those things only came when I could get really connected with my customers, who they were, what they really needed out of that, and get them really engaged and enrolled with what was available by participating with.
Right. That's awesome, man. There's a lot in what you said, but even for ambitious vets that are watching this show, I want you guys to be thinking about what is the problem that you see in the world that you're not taking actions to solve. Right.
Yeah.
I went to a business seminar. I think it's called Guerrilla Business School for a company called Success Resources out over here in LA last year. And they said that the best way to create any kind of monetization in your life is focus on what people are complaining about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So they don't know why.
Yeah.
They don't know why they're complaining, but you as a resourceful and ambitious vet could look at that and be like, well, what would be a solution to that complaint versus conforming to that complaint, agreeing with that, because then you become the pattern of the world, not the solution.
Totally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, you could touch.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome, brother. So good. So, man, I mean, tell us a little bit about your biggest failure getting out of the uniform, man, and what you learned from it.
All right. Nice. Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, I was like, hold on one second. Let me go through the Rolodex of failures, because there's, a crap ton to choose from.
Right.
I think probably the biggest failure that was the catalyst for me in some ways, after I got out of the military, I went back to the fire service. And keep in mind, when I grew up as a fireman, I grew up very blue collar environment. I grew up in a place that I was developed by, retired DC firemen from the 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, guys that were doing it, right? No air pack days. I mean, really doing it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, literally kick your ass down the hallway, beat the crap out of you. I mean, it was a very different environment. Then I went in the military and I came back and the environment had changed 180 degrees. And, we had people that were coming into the fire service from being school teachers or computer people or whatever, right? Very different world. And I, was a captain at the time, and literally about 6-8 months into the year, I had a whole mutiny. Like the whole 18 people all got together, sat down, called me into the room, all the chiefs in the room, and they're like, him or us. Like, screw this guy. We can't stand this guy. Because I was driving him. I was like, listen, you will be the best, period. I was under the rule, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're 15 minutes late. I mean, I was just on my people. Now, on the fire ground, it was like perfect, right? Any emergency in that moment, absolutely, it's what needed to be done. But in the firehouse, I failed just failed miserably as a leader. Couldn't get in touch with my people, couldn't connect with my people. I mean, and literally mutiny. literally in the chief's office with the entire crew, and they're like, either he's leaving or we're leaving. Those are your choices. And that was a huge smack in the face. And I'll tell you, so I left the firehouse, and I had somebody given me a copy of Daniel Goleman's Primal Leadership on audio. And I left the firehouse, and I'm in the car, and I put it in, I'm listening. And, you know, Goleman does a beautiful job at suckering you in the book. At least this is how I remember it. And he's talking about the commanding style of leadership, pace setting style of leadership. And he's all the great things about it. Now I'm listening to this, and I'm like, yeah, screw those people. I'm going back. I'm going to make them listen to this. He's right. You know, I was right. I was very, right, very righteous in where I was. And then he starts to talk about the deterioration of that style of leadership. He started to talk about where that wears your people out, where that becomes a problem, what the results are. And I'm sitting there in the car going, yeah, she's right. I'm not going back to the firehouse. You know, huge kick in the junk. And really had to sit back and look at myself in that moment and say, wow, what an ass, right? What a total, I don't know who your audience, what a total dick. Yeah. And really, really re-engineer myself completely, you know, because I came out of the military very structured, very disciplined. You'll be here, you'll do this. This is how it is. I grew up that way in the fire service, very paramilitary driven, right? Uniform, discipline, do your job. Yeah, all that. And came back to that into an environment that was not that way. It was very like, well, hey, how do you feel about this? And it just, so I really had to do some serious work on that. And, you know, probably at that time, Northern Virginia, just outside DC, combination system, career and volunteer, probably had 200 volunteers at the time, and 80% of the department hated me, like literally hated me. And, you know, I went to work and went and got on this and really took a look at myself, really started re-engineering. And a year later ran against the guy that was the chief when I joined the department in 91. And lost. I lost, but I lost by like 5 votes.
Oh, man.
So at least at that point in time, I had done enough to gain 50% of the department's trust that I could actually lead the organization.
Yeah.
So that to me spoke volumes. I'm you know, I lost against the guy. I love him to death. But huge lesson learned there. Huge lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was that lesson specifically? Just
you know, I think it was literally be open, be curious, and be creative right now, right? And not carry a level of expectation from this environment to this environment, because they're different.
Good, man.
Yeah.
That's good, brother. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people inside this tribe and that will listen to this and really relate to that, as far as being guys that are Marines, sailors, Air Force, Rangers, MARSOC, whatever it may be, on getting out of the uniform and getting into a environment that's not intentional, not direct in their communication.
Yeah, it's a good word. Right.
And they use a lot of feeling words.
Yes.
We don't care about how you feel. Just get the job done. Right. So that's good, man. That's awesome. Good wisdom right there, brother. So yeah. So I want to dive right in, man. I mean, what is this it factor, man? And what, kind of tell us about this branding and how it's evolved. I mean, we know each other outside of this. We've done some transformative work for a company called Landmark outside of this.
Yep.
We know each other outside here, and we'll be collaborating in the future. But tell us a little about how you established this brand as far as it factor and finding your it factor and finding your ultimate performance out of the uniform. What does that look like, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's, it's been an evolution. It continues to be an evolution. And, what I always looked at was, and I used to teach this forever, which is this idea that says, the world exists, says, hey, listen, go out, build some set of knowledge, build some set of abilities, and now go produce me results.
Right.
And, that's a 50-50 crapshoot. And I looked back when I was at the agency doing some study on human behavior at like what enabled somebody to be awarded the Medal of Honor. Like what occurred there, right? Because there's no school, no training, no, checklist to be awarded the Medal of Honor. Being awarded the Medal of Honor is a choice to be something and take extraordinary action up against ridiculous circumstances that just far exceeds everybody's expectations. That's what it is, right? So how do we live our life like that? Because I always look at it to say, listen, we get knowledge, we get abilities, but then, life is like the biggest firewall. Life is designed to strip away at our knowledge and abilities and take us away. And so, for me, dissecting the it factor and being relentless in these things, we're dealing with you against life, not what you know and what you can do, but what you know and what you can do up against life. And then out of that, how are we producing the results that we need and want to produce? And so, this package is rolled out, a ton of different ways. I mean, there's been a lot of one-on-one work that I've been doing over these last year or so with a variety of clients, and had tremendous success in just huge ways. And some of the professional sports organizations we've gotten to work with. And so it's been rolling out now, and we're about to launch a 10-week online course that will really kind of bring in the knowledge, tools, awareness, capability, and then the implementation aspect of this stuff, right? So really building a tribe of people that want to perform at a whole different level and get an opportunity to do that in the right context, in a very cool and supported context. And then I think probably mid-year, we're going to launch some weekends and have a blast. I mean, right now we do some fun things. We get to the range where, if you're in San Diego, we want to go put rounds out to 1,000 yards. It's very neat the way we handle the training using whether it's long guns or on the pistol range, and associating that back to discovering your it factor.
You're gamifying. You're gamifying your delivery.
Yeah, 100%. And so, those are the things. I mean, I think the big program here launching over the next 30 days is the 10-week course. That's going to be the fun one, because that gives us a chance to get in, dive in, and really unpack stuff and work together on some things. And then the weekends, I'm really looking forward to, kind of the Be Relentless weekends. We're going to smoke Tony Robbins. We're going to smoke these guys. We're just going to somebody's got to. So it's time for somebody to knock them off the line.
Someone's got to fill the spot.
And I think so. I think the market's ready for something different. Huh?
I said someone's got to fill the spot, man.
What'd you say?
I said someone's got to fill the spot.
Hey, man, it's time. It's time. It's time to freaking bring something new to the table and start talking about some real deal stuff, and just get out of this and get right now. Get right now into your life.
No, I like your direct message. I mean, really, the people that you're speaking to is the people in adverse situations. Like, one thing that I noticed in your branding when I was just, kind of doing some research before the interview, is like you have been in situations where you've had to handle situations on the fly, stress management, and high adverse situations, being a firefighter, being, an Army Ranger, intense training in that, and just experiencing everything you experienced. And then let alone being a CIA agent, doing counterterrorism. I mean, I can only imagine what you experienced in the decade of doing that. So you're taking all the lessons, all the knowledge, all the content you've developed all through, 2 decades of studying this stuff and bringing it into a packaged program. Right. So
in a very real and authentic way. Not like I'm somebody, I'm just a dude hanging out, sitting by the water, talking to you. Right. I mean, because we're in it together always. So yeah, I love it. I love what I get to do, man. I love contributing to people.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I love what you're doing. Now, with the it factor, I mean, obviously veterans are getting out of the uniform. They're dealing with that adverse situation. They're dealing with that sense of like, who am I? Lost, confusion. They're dealing with exactly what you're talking about. How can the ultimate performance system that you've created and your new brand with the it factor, how can that help an ambitious vet getting out of the uniform?
Man. I mean, I think it brings a new level of insight and awareness in a very safe and comfortable environment. Kind of in a space where we get each other, and really beginning to understand and dissect how we are as human beings, and what's going on internally, and then how that impacts us externally. Right. So the 3 things that we really deal with: your mindset and sources of power, your presence, how you show up and how you are present in the environment, and then ultimately your execution. But your execution in a way that doesn't live inside expectations. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, it's being open. Your message throughout this whole thing is being relentless and being open, just letting go of expectations, mindset, presence, and execution, and learning how to execute at high levels out of the uniform by changing your different presence strategies out of the uniform. So that's kind of what I'm hearing and what you're saying.
Totally, man. Totally.
Good. I love it. I love what you're doing, man. So now, how can people find out more about the It Factor, this ultimate performance system and stuff like that? How can they get closer to you, brother?
Yeah. So really a couple options. One, stay connected to the website, jeffbanman.com. Keep things posted up there. There's a spot you can sign up email. I don't do the constant email blast. I refuse to. So if you get an email from me, there's a reason for it. So read it.
Nice.
That's one piece. The other piece is, come by, like the Facebook page, and then you can join the It Factor group. And in there, we do live stuff. We do some teachings. We do some things, and that starts kind of the connected process of it. And then as we launch this 10-week course, get your butt in it, right? I mean, listen, you only got one life, and there's so much out there that's going to inundate you with what you need to know. I've done so much with this much knowledge. And I think that's what the It Factor really is about, right? You will know what you need to learn and do. You will know what you need to do over here on the knowledge and abilities side once you understand how to deal with life. So don't go buy 500 programs of how to do this and how to do that, how to do this and how to do that, because there's a slew of them out there. Step in, figure out how you're going to deal with life, then you'll know what you need to learn. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Man.
There's a lot of weight to what you just said, man. There's a lot of wealth of knowledge that I know that you give just from the work that we've done outside of just this interview and all that. I mean, you've worked with you're a very modest guy. You've worked with a lot of high level individuals, and you're a very accomplished human being, man. So I know you got a wealth of knowledge to provide any ambitious vet that's getting out of the uniform, that's looking to find the It Factor. Because what I hear and what you're saying is the It Factor is actually, how do you become someone that actually attracts opportunity to you? Right?
Yeah. You become you become the person everybody wants to be without being a dick, without being a jerk, without being anything, without being brash, right? You're the guy in the room that everyone is connected with because they want to be connected with.
Yeah. I love what you're doing, brother. Now, guys, would I request any ambitious vet that sees this now, later, or whenever you do see it, I just request that you come and you connect with this guy. I've been working with him for the past year and a half. We did a leadership course together inside of Landmark Worldwide International Personal Development Company. And he's just a guy that, he says what he means, and he means what he says, and he actually follows through with it with huge execution. He's not a guy that's saying a lot of fancy things. He's a man of few words, but high levels of execution. So, guys, I really request that you guys go and you connect with Jeff Banman immediately after this. Go and connect with his Facebook. He has a free ebook or PDF that you're giving away over there too.
Yeah, on the site, there's, these guys will love it because it's basically the old 5-paragraph op order, but it's redesigned for business. It actually, my first business plan I ever wrote was a 5-paragraph. I was so frustrated with the business plan. Frustrated. I was like, screw this. And I wrote my first business plan as an operations order. I took it to an investor, and he literally he laughed. He goes, one, nobody's ever going to give you any money for this business plan. He said, but he goes, I've never seen such an effective business plan. He goes, your business will work if you follow this. He goes, this is crazy. And so I took that, re-engineered it, brought it up to speed in some ways. And one of the things business-wise that I'll say that I like working with my business clients is, you're coming up to the second quarter. Quarter 2 is a power quarter, right? Quarter 1's discovery. Quarter 2, like you should build so much velocity through the first quarter of the year so that quarter 2 is just fully about execution. And that's what that plan's designed around. And so just grab it. I mean, have fun with it. If something doesn't work, send me a note, we'll talk about it. I don't care, have fun with it.
Yeah. It's a life by design type guide thing. I love it. And you guys need to go over there and grab that baby from him. Now, brother, before we go ahead and let you go, I want you to drop in 3 golden grenades that can make immediate impact. Make it
all right. 3
impact for ambitious vets, man, inside this group that can allow them to find that It Factor out of the uniform.
Okay. So one, right this minute, go to dictionary.com and look up the word relentless and actually read through the definition, and then be relentless.
Yes.
Like every day, every minute. That's one. Two, get in touch with your mortality. Like, get real that you may not be here tomorrow, and stop living like there's 20 or 30 years or someday maybe it'll happen. And then the third thing is, like, be open to every single thing around you. The birds flying, the grass moving, the people you meet, the person you buy your coffee from. Like, get rid of any expectation and just be available and open to every single person you come across for the next 72 hours. Just, and see what life looks like.
That's amazing. That's amazing, brother. Thanks for
Does that
going
work
in.
for your 3 nuggets?
Oh, brother, that's amazing. I love it. Powerful.
Yeah.
Boom. There's the golden grenade. Yep. Awesome, brother. Hey, man, I just want to acknowledge you for who you are, man. I mean, you've been a guy that's really set the example of being an ambitious vet out of the uniform, man. You've done a lot. I mean, damn, you've been a firefighter. You've worked for the agency for over a decade, working on counterterrorism operations. And now you're giving back, man. Now you're actually creating a solution to a huge problem, and that's helping people become highly effective in their lives at higher levels and stuff like that. It's a huge need, and I just appreciate you, like, really humbling yourself and actually giving back at this stage of your life, man. You're an awesome dude. I'm very honored to know.
Hey, brother, same goes back. I really appreciate it. I just love it. I mean, it's life. I mean, we're in it. So,
yeah. And we're doing life together, my friend. And we're going to collaborate real soon. We're going to do some gamifying stuff together. I love it.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, hey, guys, there is the Ambitious Vet Show today with Jeff Banman, guys. If you like this and you got one golden grenade out of this, guys, what I recommend is that you guys go out, you guys share this with 5 veterans that you know that may needed to hear this information. I mean, who needs to be more curious in their life, more open-minded? Who needs to be just more creative in their life, or kind of just calm down, slow down, and listen to their intuition? This mission would be really good for that veteran, guys. One thing that this branding message is with Ambitious Vets is you're warrior made, but to be passion driven, you've got to implement what you hear. A lot of people can sit back and watch a TV, but it takes somebody to sell that TV and go out and implement what they learned from that TV, right? And actually make the needed sacrifices to go out and implement.
So guys, there it is. There's episode number 12, The Ambitious Vet with Jeff Banman, guys. So as always, I'm going to dive into my major key takeaway, guys. And that was, you got to find the patterns that are creating success in your life. If it's habits, routines, rituals, if you study some of the top performing people, kind of like I have, where I've interviewed hundreds and invested into tens upon thousands of dollars in my own personal and professional development, you'll see that there's a consistent pattern to how top performers in any industry live their day-to-day, their weekly, their monthly, and their annual way of life. Guys, I want you to document your life over the next week. I want you to figure out what patterns did you naturally have as far as, habits, routines, rituals. And if you don't have any of those, what could you actually start putting into place to start creating more consistent increase in your life? Because we all know once we start hitting those roadblocks, those obstacles out of the uniform and trying to create and be known for something out of the uniform, we're going to hit those roadblocks. And it's always falling back into those systems that we've put in place, those patterns that keep us moving forward and thriving. So guys, with that being said, guys, go ahead and implement one of the golden grenades from this show this week. Also, rate and review the show. That's how we know that we are making the difference in your life, guys. And then also, if you have any feedback, negative, positive, or if you just want to give us a shout out, please email me directly at choffman, 2 F's, 2 N's, at vettrainingcoaching.com. And always, as always, ending this show, we already know that we're warrior made. But guys, it's time to go be passion driven. Let's go.